Have you ever noticed that the things which steal the most peace from your life almost never happen? You replay conversations that haven't taken place. You fear failures that don't exist. You create disasters in your mind, then suffer as if they were already real. And while your body sits safely in the present, your mind is trapped somewhere between yesterday's regrets and tomorrow's uncertainties. This is how most people spend their entire lives, not defeated by reality, but exhausted by imagination. The greatest prison is not built with iron bars. It is built by uncontrolled thoughts. The Stoics understood a truth that remains just as powerful today. The person who cannot govern their own mind will never truly govern their life. Hello everyone, welcome to the Stoic Hypnosis channel. In this video, you'll discover why worrying is not preparation, why overthinking quietly destroys your happiness, and how learning to think less, worry less, and control more can become your greatest source of inner strength in a world that never stops demanding your attention. Now, let's get started. Part 1. Your mind is not your enemy until you stop leading it. One of the greatest misconceptions about life is believing that more thinking leads to better living. It doesn't. In fact, some of the unhappiest people I have ever met were not lacking intelligence. They were trapped inside their own minds. They analyzed every conversation long after it ended. They replayed every mistake as if suffering could somehow rewrite the past. They worried about tomorrow so intensely that they forgot how to live today. The tragedy is that they believed they were being responsible, but they were not preparing for life. They were rehearsing fear. The Stoics understood something that modern life constantly encourages us to forget. Your mind is a tool. It was never meant to become your master. The moment your thoughts begin controlling your emotions, instead of serving your judgment, you quietly surrender the only thing that truly belongs to you, your inner freedom. Look around. Most people are not reacting to reality. They are reacting to the stories their minds invent. A delayed message becomes rejection. A small setback becomes failure. An uncertain future becomes catastrophe. Nothing has actually happened. Yet their hearts race. Their sleep disappears, and their peace slowly fades away. This is the hidden cost of an undisciplined mind. It convinces you that every thought deserves your attention. But wisdom begins the moment you realize a profound truth. Just because a thought enters your mind doesn't mean it deserves a place in your life. The strongest people are not those who think the most. They are the ones who know which thoughts are worth keeping and which ones must be quietly released before they steal another day's peace. Part 2. Overthinking is the illusion of control. There is a strange habit that almost everyone develops without realizing it. When life feels uncertain, we think more. We imagine that if we replay every possibility, examine every detail, and prepare for every disaster, somehow we will be safe. But the opposite is often true. The more you chase certainty, the more anxious you become. Overthinking creates the comforting illusion that you are solving a problem. In reality, you're often feeding it. Imagine sitting in a rocking chair. You're constantly moving. You're expending energy. Yet at the end of the day, you're exactly where you started. That is what excessive thinking does to the mind. It feels productive, but it rarely moves your life forward. The Stoics made a distinction that many people still fail to see. There are things you can control, and there are things you cannot. The weather, other people's opinions, the outcome of every opportunity, the past, the future. These have never belonged to you. Yet countless people sacrifice their peace trying to control what was never theirs to begin with. What does belong to you is far more powerful. Your choices, your habits, your reactions, your discipline, your character. That is where your energy should live. Every minute spent worrying about what you cannot control is a minute stolen from improving what you can, and that is why anxiety becomes so exhausting. It demands constant attention while giving nothing meaningful in return. Real control does not come from predicting every possible outcome. It comes from trusting yourself to face whatever outcome eventually arrives. When you truly understand this, something remarkable happens. Your mind becomes quieter. Not because life becomes easier, but because you stop fighting battles that only exist inside your imagination. And that is the beginning of real freedom. Before we continue, take a moment to ask yourself something. How much of your life has been spent suffering over things that never actually happened? If this message is helping you see your own mind more clearly, subscribe to the channel and continue this journey with us. Every video here is designed to help you think with greater clarity, master your emotions, and build the quiet strength that the Stoics believed was the foundation of a meaningful life. Now, there is one habit that silently steals more peace than almost anything else, and once you recognize it, you'll never look at your own thoughts the same way again. Part 3. You are not your thoughts. One of the most liberating truths you will ever discover is this. Not every thought that enters your mind is telling you the truth. Yet most people never question their thoughts. They simply believe them. A single negative idea appears. I'm not good enough. What if I fail? Maybe everyone is judging me, and within seconds that thought becomes an emotion. The emotions becomes a mood. The mood becomes a decision. And eventually, that decision shapes an entire life. Isn't it remarkable? A single thought, something invisible, something with no physical weight, can quietly determine the direction of your future. The Stoics warned against this long before psychology ever gave it a name. They understood that the mind constantly produces impressions, but impressions are not facts. They are invitations, and you always have a choice whether to accept them. Imagine standing beside a river. Leaves drift past on the surface of the water. Some are beautiful. Some are damaged. Some disappear almost as quickly as they arrive. Your thoughts are much the same. They come, they go. But only the ones you hold on to become part of your identity. The problem is that many people grab every fearful thought as if it were an emergency. Instead of observing it, they obey it. Instead of questioning it, they surrender to it. That is how anxiety quietly gains control. The strongest minds do something different. They pause, they notice the thought, then they ask, is this true? Is this useful? Can I actually do something about it today? If the answer is no, they let it pass like a cloud moving across the sky. This is not denial, it is discipline. Because real mental strength is not having fewer negative thoughts. It is refusing to let every negative thought become your reality. The day you stop believing everything your mind whispers is the day your mind finally stops controlling you. And from that moment forward, you begin living with something most people spend their entire lives searching for. A quiet, steady, unshakable peace. Part 4. Peace begins where control begins. Most people spend their lives trying to control the wrong things. They want everyone to understand them. They want life to be predictable. They want certainty before they take the first step. But life has never made that promise. Storms arrive without warning. People change without explanation. Opportunities disappear. Plans fall apart. And sometimes, despite doing everything right, things still go wrong. This is not failure. It is simply the nature of life. The suffering begins when you insist that reality should have been different. The Stoics accepted a truth that many people spend decades resisting. You cannot command the world, but you can command yourself. And once you understand that distinction, everything begins to change. You stop wasting energy asking, "Why is this happening to me?" Instead, you begin asking, "How will I respond to this?" That single question transforms victims into leaders. It transforms panic into clarity. It transforms helplessness into quiet confidence. Think back to the strongest person you have ever known. Perhaps they experienced loss. Perhaps they faced betrayal. Perhaps life tested them in ways you could never imagine. Yet somehow they remained steady, not because they had easier lives, but because they refused to let difficult circumstances decide who they would become. That is the difference between reacting and responding. Reaction is immediate. Response is intentional. Reaction belongs to fear. Response belongs to wisdom. Every day gives you dozens of opportunities to practice this. Someone speaks to you with disrespect. A plan suddenly falls apart. You receive bad news. The old version of yourself reacts. The wiser version pauses, takes a slow breath, observes the emotion without becoming consumed by it, and then chooses the next action with a clear mind instead of a frightened one. This is what real control looks like. It is not controlling other people. It is not controlling the future. It is controlling the only thing that has ever truly belonged to you: your own mind. Because the moment your mind becomes stronger than your circumstances lose the power to define your life. Part 5. The quiet life is the strong life. If there is one thing age has taught me, it is this: a peaceful mind is not something you find. It is something you build. Day by day, choice by choice, thought by thought. Most people spend years chasing a life with fewer problems. But problems are part of being alive. No philosophy can remove uncertainty. No amount of success can eliminate disappointment. No level of wealth can guarantee peace. The Stoics never promised a life without hardship. They promised something far more valuable: a mind that remains steady even when hardship arrives. That is the kind of strength the world rarely celebrates. It is quiet, invisible, and yet it changes everything. Imagine waking up tomorrow without immediately reaching for your worries. Imagine facing uncertainty without inventing the worst possible ending. Imagine ending each day with gratitude instead of mental exhaustion. That life is not reserved for extraordinary people. It belongs to anyone willing to train their mind with patience and discipline. The truth is, your future will not be determined by the number of thoughts you have. It will be shaped by the quality of the thoughts you choose to keep. You cannot stop fear from knocking on the door, but you can decide whether to invite it inside. You cannot prevent doubt from appearing, but you do not have to build your life around it. Every morning, you are given a choice. You can wake up and surrender your peace to every headline, every opinion, every uncertainty. Or you can reclaim your attention and place it where it has always belonged: on today's actions, on your character, on the next right decision. Because life is never transformed by thinking about change. It is transformed by practicing it. One calm breath, one disciplined response, one unnecessary worry released, then another, and another, until one day you realize something extraordinary. The world around you has not become quieter. People are still unpredictable. Challenges still exist. The future is still uncertain. But your mind has finally become a place where peace is stronger than fear. And once you reach that place, you discover the greatest lesson Stoicism has to offer. The person who controls their own mind no longer needs to fear what the world may bring, because true freedom was never about controlling life. It was always about mastering yourself. Conclusion. Perhaps the greatest battle you will ever fight is not against other people, difficult circumstances, or an uncertain future. It is the quiet battle taking place inside your own mind every single day. The moment you learn to worry less, think with greater clarity, and respond instead of react, life begins to feel lighter. Your problems may not disappear, but they no longer have the power to control you. The lesson to remember. If there is one lesson to carry with you today, let it be this. You don't need to control everything that happens around you. You only need to master how you respond. Every unnecessary worry steals a piece of today's peace. Every hour spent overthinking is an hour that could have been spent living, growing, or becoming stronger. So beginning today, when your mind starts racing toward fear or uncertainty, pause for just a moment. Take one slow breath. Ask yourself, can I control this? If the answer is yes, take the next small step with courage. If the answer is no, practice letting it go. That single habit, repeated every day, can gradually transform the way you experience life. Remember, a calm mind is not something you are born with. It is something you train. And every time you choose clarity over chaos, discipline over fear, and action over endless thinking, you become a stronger version of yourself. If this video brought you peace, clarity, or even one new perspective, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and join our growing community. Together, we'll continue exploring timeless Stoic wisdom, emotional mastery, self-discipline, and practical lessons that help you live with greater confidence, purpose, and inner peace. Thank you for taking the time to watch until the end of the video. See you in the next videos.